Hello. It is another month, so it is time for my March reading wrap-up. During March, I went to Indianapolis to see John Green on his book tour for his new book. And also, two of my anticipated reads came out this month, the John Green's book and also the new Hunger Games book. I didn't go too crazy with my reading this month, but it was still, I feel like all the books I read, I was really eating them up and I was really enjoying. So overall, a very good month for reading. So let's get into all of the books that I read in March. First up, we have some digital books that I read on Libby through my Kindle. First book is All Hail the Underdogs. Last year, I read the first two books by this author. I think it's like Real People Do, and I don't remember what the second one is called. But those books are basically just published check please fan fiction. That being said, I did enjoy it. It was just like reading fan fiction. I'm always craving more hockey content because it's really hard to find hockey books that like actually center around hockey. I read this one just because I was like, vibes, you know? This book is very clearly based on two characters from Check Please, Dex and Nursey, and their whole thing that they get shipped is like enemies to friends to lovers, essentially. This book does have that, but I feel like the vibes of like the, oh my gosh, they hate each other, kind of just got like thrown out really early on in the book. That is kind of the whole like point of this trope and this ship, so it was very interesting to me that they kind of resolved it very quickly. In the book, once we get to like Christmas break, I like felt it kind of like slow down. All these big things happened and then like Christmas happened and then it kind of like fizzled out after that. Then they introduced a baby. I'm not a fan of the kid trope in general, and I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. This book is set in high school. I was expecting it to be set in college, and maybe if it was set in college, I would have liked it a little bit more, but because I was like, these are high schoolers. Why are you trying to make a kid fic into high school? Those vibes were very weird to me. I get why it was set in high school because Rome's whole plot kind of fizzles out if he's over 18 because of the whole family drama of it all. But again, it was just a very interesting choice, and I was like, I feel like you needed to pick either Rome's family stuff or Rome's other family stuff, but with a kid. I felt like they couldn't really coexist very well without it being a little too weird. Overall, I liked it. I'm always looking for a hockey book. Please give me hockey books because clearly I need hockey book. I need hockey. This next book is called In Repair. This book is based in the same universe as another book, Icebreaker. I didn't know that when I read it. I just thought it was by the same author. Now I am very interested more so to read that first book because I really enjoyed this book. This one is, I thought it would be more about lacrosse than what it was. When I read the synopsis, it seemed like it was more involving that, but it's not really that big of a plot point in the book. Really enjoyed this friend group. It felt very much like freshman year college vibes. I liked how it also wasn't like a perfect friend group and how it showed that like you need a support group, but that can be really hard when you're not wanting to let people in, either to protect them or protect yourself or however it may be. Like, I felt like there was a very good mix of his friends still supporting him even when he pushed them away, but also the friends were like, I'm not gonna let you walk all over me just because you're very clearly hurting, but I still want to be here for you. So I felt like that whole dynamic was actually handled really well. I loved Nate's and Max's friendship. Healed my heart a little bit because they were like ex-friends that then became friends again, and just the way that Max was instantly like, I'm here for you no matter what you need. I don't care about all the stuff that happened in the past. I don't care about all the drama that happened between us. I still care about you and I'm here for you. Oh, and I would love to see more of Max in the future. So maybe like if he could get a book, I don't know. But I loved their dynamic specifically. Besides all like the fun college friend group stuff, this book is very much about grief and how it can kind of make you sabotage yourself. You want to heal, but because you don't want to deal with it, you're not healing and you're just hurting yourself. I guess if some people read it, they would just be like, ugh, he's so annoying and like blah, blah, blah. He's always so depressing and sad. That grief was like consuming him because he wasn't able to talk about it or share it with anybody. And I just felt like it was a very true dynamic. Like you go to college, you're in this new environment, all these things are coming up to the surface, and it's just like, yes, that would be the time that you would go through this shift. Sometimes you go to college and you think things will get better, but you're actually still sad and you don't know why you're sad. You don't want to be, but you are. And I think that is just pretty much like it, that just sums up this book. It's like you go to college and you think things are gonna get better, and they do for a little bit, but you're still sad and you're like, but why am I sad? Everything's better. Check out the trigger warnings ahead of time, but I'm very interested to going back and reading more from this author, especially the first book, to see more of the characters that we get hints in throughout this book. I mentioned in my last video that I got some books for my birthday, and that is the Check Please series. So of course I had to reread them now that I have them in print. So my next two books are volume 1 and volume 2 of Check Please. I'm gonna kind of lump them together because like it's the same story, it's connected, you know. When I read it, it was all one thing, it wasn't two. I love them, and again, I want this to be a show so bad. This would be such a good show. All the characters would be so good on it because they're so well-rounded and so drawn out. So I need this to be a show. Anyway, every time I read this, it's just like Jack Zimmerman is going to make me cry. Like, there was a scene in the first one, and it's him talking to his dad, and oh my god, it just like, it rips your heart out of your chest and throws it on the ground, because like, these characters are just so well thought out. I just, I want it to stab me because it would hurt less. Volume 2, this was my first time getting to read the extra Kent chapter because it's not available online, it's only available in the physical version. Oh my gosh, I think about Kent and Jack and just the whole situation, because it wasn't fair for either of them. Like, I feel physically ill. Like, I am not like a Kent Parse like denier, but I am a Kent Parse sympathizer. He was a child, and he went through, like, he also went through something traumatic. Of course, obviously it happened to Jack, so it was more traumatic for Jack, but like, that also happened to Kent. And when I think about it and everything Kent has gone through, ugh. I have no words. There was so much thought put into creating all of these characters. It wasn't just like, oh, we need a character to do this, I guess that's gonna be this person. Like, everything, like, they're all so fleshed out, all the background characters. God, if you're real, you'll give me a Check Please show. I want it to have 1 million episodes, and I want every episode to be an hour long. Please go read Check Please if you haven't already. What are you even doing here? Please go read it. Next book was an audiobook, my only audiobook for the month, and my second audiobook of the year. Josh Gad's audiobook, which is called Gad We Trust. Obviously, I'm a theater kid, so I was gonna listen to this, and he does narrate the audiobook, which is great. It's kind of your typical like celebrity memoir, you know. It's like, here's me when I was young, and oh no, I couldn't get anything, and then now I do all these really cool things. But I don't know, there was just something about the way that it was very clearly written in Josh's voice, which I really appreciate in any memoir. Like, it wasn't like he was trying too hard, or that like he was trying to make it just more polished and more cool than it is. Like, listening to it, I was like, I'm just listening to Josh Gad like give an interview. He really gives homage to the different kind of projects he worked on and the people in those projects that helped him as well. Overall, I thought it was like a great way to showcase his career and the kind of different steps he had to take to get there. And it was a good way to show that failure and taking risks are necessary to get you outside of your comfort zone in order to find success. So that was kind of like the whole vibe of it. If you like Josh Gad, you're gonna love this book. If you like theater, you're gonna like this book. But I will say, Josh also did go out of his way sometimes to talk about topics that I wouldn't have expected him to talk about. And I like that he was like, no one asked me to do this, but I felt like I needed to talk about this. So overall, I really enjoyed listening to it. Now, the time we've all been waiting for. Sunrise on the motherfucking Reaping. I feel like I could make a whole video about this, but I can't because my thoughts are so jumbled. I don't think I'd be able to form a coherent sentence. So like, I would love to, but I feel like this might be as much as we get. Who knows? Maybe when my brain cells come back from wherever they left, I'll do it. But in the meantime, we're gonna do this. Suzanne Collins is not fucking around this time. I very much appreciate that she doesn't feel forced to write. She writes when she has something to say. And I think if you look at when she releases her recent sequels, that is very fitting. 2020 and the 2025. And you can just tell in her writing. It bleeds through every page, every sentence, every plot point, every character, that she has something to say and she wants us to listen. You know, even from the epigraphs, like right off the gate in this book, all those quotes, like I was like, oh, she really is pushing it in this one. And I loved that. It was just so well written. Nothing ever feels out of place. It all feels very natural, because that is the whole point of the Hunger Games series, is talking about these and bringing awareness to these issues and showing that, like, no, we need to talk about them. I love and fear when we get a new book, because I love new content, but I know it's just because we're getting a new book because we need a new book, you know. Moving on from that, I can't believe Haymitch birthed Katniss. Bitch, I'm a mother! No drama! We're so alike, it's scary. Obviously, we're not seeing every single year of the Hunger Games, but the ones that we do see are all so connected, not even because of the rebellion, but just because of the people. Haymitch, like, he is mother. He was mothering really hard in this one. And there were so many times where I was like, that is just why him and Katniss have this, like, just this bond that kind of trumps everything else. There's also a lot of things plot-wise that to happen to Haymitch that also happen to Katniss, like throughout her games or whatever. And I want to know if that is like just a Susan Collins kind of Easter egg to be like, hey, remember this happened to Katniss in her games too. It's happening to Haymitch now. Or if it's like deeper level that the Capitol did it on purpose to Katniss to mess with Haymitch as well. Different mutts, the poison of it all, the fire, like all these different things that happen to him, we also see happen to Katniss. And so you're just like, every time I was just like, is this just like a funny haha coincidence, or was this like very specific? Because we know the Capitol likes to torture mentors and tributes, especially Haymitch. We know the Capitol hates Haymitch after reading this book. So I'm like, how much of that is them just to show that they still have their thumb on Haymitch? Since Songbirds and Snakes, a lot of people like either really like or are really weirded out by how much music is included, because obviously when we got Lucy Greybeard and the Covey introduced, the amount of music really skyrocketed, and it has continued more so in here. But I don't know if it's Lenore or Lenore. I read it as Lenore Dove. Anyway, there's more music throughout because Haymitch learns it from her. You think about and you go back into the Hunger Games, music is also a very large part of Katniss as well. Obviously, like, we get Hanging Tree, we also get the Willow song. It's not something that's out of the blue. I think it's just because, you know, Katniss is a little bit more in the future where the Covey isn't around that much. So what she knows is from just little pieces that her dad passed on, whereas the Covey and these, the music is very interwoven with their character and with their personality because they're kind of raised on it. Music is one of the few art forms we see in here outside of the Capitol. It shows how they use it as this form of rebellion, because that is kind of the point of art, is to express humanity. So yes, the districts are using music as a form of rebellion in and outside of the arena. District 12 and other districts in the Covey are like holding on to this culture, while the Capitol is so clearly trying to erase the culture, you know, getting rid of the Covey, making them be a district. It is just kind of this like defiance. And obviously we learn that like the rebellion isn't something that just happened with Katniss. Like, the rebellion has been in the making for years and years, even before Haymitch's time. You know, we see other mentors who have been punished because they are trying to stand up to the Capitol. And it just is really full circle. This movie is going to hurt me when it comes out. And I'm going to make it everybody's problem, because once I get that footage, I'm going to make the most heart-wrenching edits imaginable. My Haymitch playlist doubled in length after reading this. So like, I'm not ready, you're not ready, nobody's ready, but I am so excited. I'm so excited, and it's gonna hurt. The movie's gonna hurt in and of itself, and then the TikTok edits are going to stab me repeatedly. You know that your story is not only well written, but is important if the audience already knows what's going to happen. We know Haymitch wins the games. Like, we know that from the first few chapters of the original Hunger Games book. But we're still surprised and on the edge of our seats throughout, and we still feel for all of the characters. We are still worrying for all the characters. Like, we know what happens, but we're still so invested in the story. The fact that you can still get heartbroken and emotionally invested while reading, it just shows how great the plot and the story and the writing really is. Highlighted, I also on the sides have like little, but it's all colorful. So that was the Hunger Games. Did you survive it? I didn't. Hunger Games, woo! I know people don't want a Finnick book, and I know people also think that the next book we get is going to be about the Dark Days kind of rebellion, but I still really want a Finnick book. Like, it'll leave me dead in an alley, but I really want it. I really want it. I do. I'm sorry. Rounding out March and 2012 at the same time, my last book I read is Everything is Tuberculosis by John Green. Again, these books came out on the same day. It felt like these authors personally decided to attack everyone that was a nerd and a loser in middle school. So I read it. This is just proof that I will read anything this man writes. Like, I'm reading a book about a disease, you know? We've come a long way, you know. Bruh. I also have to rearrange my shelf because my John Green books don't fit in my John Green section. I did listen to the audiobook of this book while I read it, just because I knew it was going to be more like sciencey based. This book and the audiobook, it feels like you're watching a Vlogbrothers video. It feels like you're watching Crash Course, you know, mix of educational and entertaining. And John's voice really like shines throughout the whole thing. Like, it never feels like I'm reading a textbook or I'm reading like a medical journal kind of thing. The basis of John Green's writing is the humanity that is sprinkled in throughout. Hope and connection to people. Hope that like we can do better and we can be better. And that really shines in this book. You know, people were like, why is he writing about this? John Green writes about, you know, YA fiction. And it's the same thing. It's the same message that he gets along in Looking for Alaska. It's the same message he puts in The Fault in Our Stars, he puts into Paper Towns, he puts into Turtles All the Way Down. It didn't really feel like a swing out of left field. I wasn't really sure what to expect, but again, I love the Anthropocene Reviewed. I watch John's YouTube videos, so like I was like, I maybe know what to expect nonfiction wise, but it didn't really feel that different. It felt very natural. The audiobook also helped with that, but he wove everything very clearly together, and it was very strong. So if you were like a little hesitant, if you were like, I like John Green but I don't know about this, at least, you know, listen to the audiobook. It feels natural. If you follow Crash Course, if you watch the Vlogbrothers, this won't feel out of place. It feels very, this is John Green. This is the essence of John Green. That was everything I read in March. So I read actually a little bit more than I did in February, even though it didn't feel like it. Actually, I was bad. I did not read a classic for the month of March. I said I was trying to read one every month. I fell behind on my little classic book club, but in my defense, The Hunger Games is a classic, so it does count, okay? It does. And if you say it doesn't, I'm gonna be really mad at you. I'm gonna be really mad at myself, so don't say that. Let me know if you read any of these books and your thoughts on them. Let me know what your favorite book for March was. Please leave all your Hunger Games theories, comments, thoughts, love letters in the comments below. I want to read them. I want to read everything. Please talk to me about Hey Mitch. Please. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye. Gross.